We have this as a theme for this month, and today we'll be using shared libraries and ActiveX in this topic. Like I said, you will use connectivity whenever you want to extend the functionality of your LabVIEW application to exchange data with some other platforms. The platforms which could use ActiveX framework, or to use .NET framework, or something like web server. So for today, we'll be talking about shared libraries, how you get different DLLs in LabVIEW and how you exchange data with a DLL. Secondly, we'll also see how to exchange data with a ActiveX framework. So basically something like PowerPoint or Excel or your PDF viewer or your media player, things like those. So how you exchange data with those, how do you call those platforms from LabVIEW, or you could also call LabVIEW from those platforms. So for those who are new to shared libraries concept, shared libraries is nothing but it's a module in any other language which encloses different functions. So something like a DLL, it can be written in a variety of languages. You know, it could be C, C++, LabVIEW or whatever. And they're basically similar to a function in C programming language. Different frameworks will have different kinds of shared libraries. We call them DLLs when you are using Windows. We call them frameworks when you're using Mac OS. And we call them shared libraries when you're using Unix. So you use this function node called call library. It's present in LabVIEW functions palette. You will use it. If you double click on this function node, you will see this dialog box. In this dialog box, you can define your DLL. So first of all, you have to import that DLL, and then you have to define what all parameters would be there in this DLL. So like you use a function in a text-based language, you have to provide some parameters, some return value. You will do the same thing over here. So you can have different kinds of calling conventions for a DLL. The standard ones are std call and C. So when you open this dialog box, the first thing you see is where you can import the DLL. So you will browse for a DLL which is there on your system. You will look for it. And the DLL, depending on its framework, if it's built in the C language, you will choose C over here. If it's a Windows-based DLL, you will choose WinAPI. So we'll have an example where I'll import a user32.dll, which is a WinAPI basically. Then you will have parameters. So whatever parameters you need to pass to this DLL, you will import them over here. So you will add parameters and you will define the data types. So let me show you the demo now. You have a slide called demo. So I'll go to LabVIEW now and I'll show you a demo on shared libraries. So I'll open up a new VI. Now this is a blank VI, right? Now if I want to import a DLL, like I said, all I need to do is I'll first need to import that function node called call library function node. So I'll go to the connectivity palette. There's something called libraries and executables. I'll use this function called call library function node. Right? I can see it on my block diagram now. I'll just double click it and I'll see the dialog box which we were talking about. So let me import a DLL. I'll click on this browse button. I can go to C drive. I can go to Windows. I'm basically trying to import a system DLL. So system32 and user. So I'm importing user32.dll. Using this DLL, basically I can control your keyboard, mouse and all those things. So since it's a system DLL, I'll choose WinAPI over here. I cannot choose C. Next I'll go to parameters. So right now this function doesn't have a parameter. Now if I want to use a function called, let's say, set the cursor position, I'll choose this function which is called set cursor position. So now in this DLL, which is basically a code module, it has a lot of functions. Now I want to access this particular function called setCursorPosition, which has certain parameters. I'll provide those parameters over here. Now to define a cursor position, you need X coordinates and Y coordinates. So what I'll choose is X, numeric sin 32, that's all fine. I'll add another parameter which is Y. So X and Y parameters. I'll say OK, and you will see I32, I32 over here. Right? So whatever X and Y value I pass to them, the cursor will go according to that position. Let me put a while loop now. So I put a while loop, I'll put a stop button. Now whatever value I pass to these, that will be your cursor position. So what I'll do is, I'll start with, let's say, 0 as the value. I'll start with 0 as the value for X and Y. I can replace this with a shift register. I can keep on incrementing the values. I'll pass these values to the shift register. So every iteration, these values are being increased. I'll put some wait period so that you can see the changes. Let's say 10 milliseconds. And now if I run the program, let's say I don't use a stop button and I stop the program automatically when it reaches 100. So this program will continue to run, right, till the value is 100. So you can see my cursor move. You won't be able to see it right now because the value goes from 0 to 100. So let me say 400 and 400, 500. Now let's run the program. And you will see the cursor being controlled automatically. Right? You can see the cursor move. Let's change the parameters a bit more. 700. Right? You can see the cursor move automatically. That is because you're controlling the DLL, which already has this function called setCursorPosition in it. So this is how you use DLLs or use shared libraries in LabVIEW. So this is the block diagram. The key thing over here is this function node called call library. So this is what you have to remember. We'll go back to our presentation. I'll go into the next topic. We'll now use ActiveX Objects. So LabVIEW inherently can also act as an ActiveX client or an ActiveX server. Basically, the application which we are talking about, like PowerPoint or Excel, you can have LabVIEW call them inside a LabVIEW VI, or you can have those programs call LabVIEW in them. So this is how you build an ActiveX program. You have these automation VIs which are there present in the connectivity palette. First of all, you have to open a session with an ActiveX platform. So you have to use this VI called automation open. You create a reference to that application, be it Excel, be it PowerPoint, be it MediaFair, whatever. You have to open a reference to that. Then you have to use the property nodes to define, how do you want to open the application? Do you want to call it? Do you want to open PPT? Do you want to open an Excel file? Whatever you want to do. Do you want to write to an Excel file? Whatever you want to do. And then finally you just close it. Check for errors is optional again. So this is an example of an ActiveX enabled application. What they're doing over here is they have an open server block which they are opening Excel with this. In that they're opening the workbook. In that workbook they are opening a file. So the file name is provided from over here. You can also have a dialog box. So we'll see an example. I'll put a dialog box over there. You can open a file in this workbook, and this workbook basically will be present on your front panel in LabVIEW. You don't have to open Excel explicitly. It will be present on your LabVIEW program. Then finally you can close the reference, and that's it. So we can basically, I'll just show you the demo. So I'll again open the new VI. For the ease, over here we have the ActiveX palette. I'll place the immediate blocks. We have an automation open. We have the close reference. In between I'll have the property nodes and invoke nodes. So let's say my aim is to open a PowerPoint presentation from LabVIEW. I don't want to open it explicitly. I want to open a PowerPoint presentation from LabVIEW itself. We can do that. The first block, which is automation open, I'll right click and say select ActiveX class. Okay, so once you have the PowerPoint application on the left side, once you open PowerPoint, then you have to control the application. So you want to control PowerPoint from LabVIEW. So the next thing you need to over here is from the connectivity palette, from ActiveX, you need a property node. You need to access the properties of PowerPoint. So you'll connect the reference from the open to property node. You'll access the property which you want. So let's say you want to access visible property. So you'll say change to right. You can wire some constant. You can say whether you want it to be true or false, whether you want it visible or not. Now you want to control the presentations. So you'll choose the property called presentations. Now you want to control these presentations. You want to run these presentations. You use an invoke node. Take the reference of this presentation and you want to open this presentation. So now to open the presentation, you have to provide a file name, right? So now in order to provide the file name, I should have some path. Now if I don't want to have a fixed file name, I can just put a file dialog. So I can go to file IO and I can use this advanced file function and file dialog box. I just need a file, so that's okay. Selected path. Now this selected path I cannot directly wire to this file name because it's a path file and it needs a string. So what I'll do is I'll convert this path to string. String conversion and path to string. That's it. Now I can open this PPT from here itself and I can close it from here. Now this program is ready. So I can run this program and it will ask me which PPT I want to open. So right now it will ask me, it will show me different PPTs. I can select one, it will open up in the background. So you can see it just opened up. But right now it's not active. So you didn't actually realize that it opened. So what we can do is we can bring it to the front. We can even do a slideshow of it. So let's do that. Let's see how to do that. So now that the PPT is opened, I can control the slideshow of it. So what I need is I need a property node again. And for this presentation, I want to control its slideshow. So basically what I'm doing is I'm controlling the slideshow settings and I want to make it, let's say, a full screen slideshow. So I'll use another property node. So I mean, let's say show type. So what kind of show? There are different properties which you can access. So right. So again, choose a constant. So you can say, show type window, speaker, whatever you want. So speaker is fine. You will see it right over here on my screen. And then I can say just run. So I can use the invoke node now and I can run this slideshow. So the slideshow is configured. Now all I have to do is I have to run it. That's it. I can wire the close again. And this is the program now. So now let's run the program. It asks me to open a PPT. I'll open it. And there you have the slideshow. So it automatically opened up a slideshow from LabVIEW itself. So this is how you use ActiveX controls in LabVIEW. Right, this is one example of Excel. We'll talk about the contest of the week now. So in this contest, what you have to do is you have to create a web browser. Now this web browser doesn't have to look like a Firefox or a Chrome or an Internet Explorer. It has to be minimalistic. What you have to do is you have to have certain functions which are required of a web browser, like go back, close, refresh, or forward, and that's it. You have to open up a search page like Google or Yahoo in LabVIEW. So all of it has to be in LabVIEW. So you have to make a VI. When you run it, a web browser opens up. Right? So the contest will be live on LabViewEnable.in. You can check out over there. The winner of the last contest, we have the name over here, and very well congratulations to the person who has won the last competition. I request the others to view the solution to the last contest on the website. They are posted on LabVIEW Enabled. You can also learn and participate more on Webcast Wednesday every Wednesday on LabViewEnable.in. You can watch a recording of this session after 3 hours from now on LabViewEnable.in. Thanks a lot for your time. All right, so that will be all from my side. If you have any questions, you can please revert them to us. And secondly, you can also go back to LabViewEnable.in. Within half an hour, you will receive the contest for this week. Thanks a lot.